Alright, hello everybody, this is HD StarCraft. Welcome back, happy Monday to everybody, and I'm here to bring you guys another set of StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm games, and this is going to be once again featuring HOTS, otherwise known as Paulo, his real name, and he will be the yellow Zerg player down in the bottom left hand corner of Daybreak. And he looks like he's already going to go ahead and go for a quick expansion, 15 hatchery. His opponent is going to be the blue Terran player, and his name, or should I say her name, will be Cute Angel. So Cute Angel is going to be the blue Terran at the top right hand corner, and I'll go ahead and give him/her the benefit of the doubt and say that it is a her. And so it is going to be HOTS here, and we will see how masterful he is at playing the game of StarCraft 2 against Cute Angel. And it looks like Cute Angel is probably going to go for a Rax into CC, which is pretty common, pretty standard on this map. And you know what? The early beginnings of this game, I already, go ahead and skip the first 2 minutes just because I talked about this in the last cast I did. I feel like the first 2 minutes a lot of times in StarCraft 2, it's a lot of the build-up, so why not just go ahead and skip the first few and go right into the build orders and then into hopefully some battles. And so that's what we have going on here as the SCV makes its way inside of HOTS' main base, and it is going to be a spawning pool. Daybreak is a pretty big map, and this map has just been around for almost a year now, and it was originally introduced, I believe, in the GSL, and it's just been kind of sticking around for so long. Everyone considers it to be a very big map. I do agree with that sentiment. I think a lot of the reason why I think it's a big map and it tends to have huge macro games is because in the early portions you can't really directly come to the opponent's base due to these destructible debris. You actually have to go around the top or go around the back, so it kind of elongates the travel distance between the two bases. And I would expect to see a pretty big macro game here. Although whenever you have a game with HOTS, you can't ever discount the possibility of some just ridiculous strategy that only he can think of. And I don't know, we'll see. He might try to go something crazy. One of his signature playstyles, like I said before, I made an allusion to wrestling and their signature moves. HOTS' signature move in StarCraft 2 is Burrowed Infestors. But upon further review, I do feel like his signature move can be anything that just is completely out of the ordinary. And even Burrowed Infestors, not too far away from the realm of conventional playstyle. But there is something weird going on here. HOTS is going for double extractor pretty quickly too. This is before the 6-minute mark, and looks like there are a few Marines puncturing through the natural, but there's 3 queens here. And normally, I think this type of attack would have been able to disrupt the 3rd hatchery, but the thing about HOTS here is he actually doesn't have a 3rd hatchery coming, so that kind of makes it a little weird. And I wonder if Cute Angel saw the gases coming up. She did see one of the gases on the top side, so at that point you've got to assume, okay, the Zerg player probably has the 2 gases in the main as well. And if that's the case here, Cute Angel should definitely not throw down an in-base command center. That's way too greedy, and I kind of like the starport decision, because if there are roaches coming, if there is something like Baneling's roaches, Zergling, Baneling, anything like that, Banshee actually is a pretty good defensive unit, just because those kind of units can't hit against a Banshee. So if Cute Angel needs this starport to begin making Banshees, she can. But it looks like right now she is going to go for a medevac and has an Infernal Pre-Igniter on the way. Now remember, this is Heart of the Swarm, so Battle Hellions are a possibility here. But I think what we're going to see Cute Angel do is just do a standard Hellion drop. And we already have the Hellions actually on the map here, 5 of them in fact. And it looks like they won't be able to punch through the queens, but they will be able to destroy one of the creep tumors at the very edge. And interestingly enough, HOTS still hasn't grabbed a 3rd hatchery yet. This is really peculiar, and at this point the Terran has got to be thinking, okay, what the hell is going on? Why, you're a Zerg player, why don't you have your 3rd hatchery yet? And HOTS is showing Roachhorn at the front door. At this point, I don't think HOTS is going to do some crazy all-in. I mean, it's way too late for that. It's 8 minutes and almost 30 seconds in now. And if he is going to play a Roach-based style versus mech, that's totally fine. That's what we see the Terran player going for here, which is mech. But to do that, you need a 3rd hatchery. There's no way at least as far as I can see from my experience playing Zerg, that a Zerg player can win 2 bases versus 2 bases, and soon to be 2 bases versus 3 bases if you're just going to try to defeat mech with roaches. You just can't do it, and now the Hellions have found themselves inside the main base thanks to this medevac here, and they're converting into battle mode. It doesn't look like they killed off that many drones though, so every slight victory here is actually very much needed for our Zerg hero Catz, because he's just now starting the 3rd base, and he is not holding that traditional 1 base advantage. And look at this, we've got Widow Mines on the field. And you know, the Widow Mines, it's an interesting unit. You don't really see it all that often. A lot of pro gamers feel like it's just too expensive for what it's worth. And you know, as of now, I still don't think Blizzard has really done anything to change the way the Widow Mine works. You know, I know they took out the Warhound, oh my god. And I should actually mention to you guys that these replays are a few weeks old, so these are before the patch that got the Warhound removed. So we do see a Warhound in production right now. But like I said before, I feel like it's still relevant because I do believe that Blizzard is planning to re-implement the Warhound at some point. And so, you know, these replays aren't necessarily like out of date or anything like that, because I think the Warhound will be making a comeback. And oh, goodbye Zerglings. So that's that's actually a great way to defend against Zergling run-bys as Terran. You know, a lot of times Terran players find themselves in this kind of caveat. They push out with their metal army, and oh crap, a bunch of Zerglings running into my main base. That's where the Widow Mine can actually play a huge role, and that's one thing that I know a lot of professional Terran players have been saying, hey, that might be a way that Widow Mines can work. Widow Mines can also be deadly effective against Ultras because they do a bunch of damage, and we have actually the signature move coming out here from Catz, moving Burrowed Infestors on the bottom side. The Widow Mine was on the north though, and I wonder, I don't think a Widow Mine, when it's burrowed, can see Infestors. You'd think it would be able to, but I don't think it can. And this Widow Mine is not burrowed, so we will not be able to test that theory out. But wow! Cute Angel gets the supply depots up, but it doesn't really matter. The Infestors look like they'll have an opening down to the bottom right. And now the Widow Mine's burrowed, but it's just a little bit too late. And these Infestors are going to have a little bit of fun inside the main base. Meanwhile, it looks like we have a Warhound drop inside of Catz's main. And this Warhound's gotten 1 drone kill already. We'll see what else it can do. Meanwhile, the Infestor's actually going to split off first before Catz reveals them. He wants to be able to hit 2 bases at once before his Infestors go down, and that's actually really smart. And it's just extremely patient play by Catz, but this is going to pay off huge for him if he can get his infested Terrans out. And when will he reveal the strike? Is he going to wait for the Terran army to push out before actually showing his hand? 73 workers to 64 right now, with the Zerg player maintaining a slight lead, but he still doesn't have that extra base. And Catz is not... Oh, what the hell? All those Infestors came out and fungled. They did not shoot infested Terrans. And how many SCVs just went down there? 15 workers. Are you kidding me? And that was absolutely devastating. And now more SCVs going down on the right-hand side. Oh my goodness, the worker count going up to 30 kills. These Infestors actually used fungal, not infested Terrans. And that actually worked out pretty well for Catz. And now it looks like he's going to be able to shut down the counterattack at the same time. Oh man, Catz is doing a great job, but it looks like meanwhile there are Widow Mines burrowing inside his main base. Oh my god, the drones are in so much trouble. Oh! Drones going down. I feel like that was... I don't know, I feel that was actually like necessary. These Banshees and the Warhound probably would have ended up killing the drones anyways, but hey, it's always fun to try out new creative strategies. And Cute Angel returning a little bit of the favor. He's killed off 31 drones himself. Not too shabby at all. Meanwhile, Catz has maintained his Infestor count in the back of the 3rd. But you'd imagine as soon as one of these orbital commands gets enough energy for his scan, which it looks like the Natural is about to, we'll have a scan coming down on the 3rd, and that is going to catch these Infestors. So, all in all, I do feel like Catz came out ahead in terms of how many workers were killed off. We can see here 36 to 31 total income. Obviously, the Zerg holding a huge lead there, but look at how many bases Cute Angel's got here. She's got a 5th up already. No, that's a 4th, excuse me. And she's got a potential 5th, a macro orbital at the 3rd. And so the ability for Cute Angel here to reproduce her SCVs, I mean, she's going to have so many space construction vehicles in a few moments here that it's going to be able to rival the number of drones that Catz has. And, you know, we're still not factoring in the base disadvantage that the Zerg player is at right now as well. But you know what? Catz is on Hive Tech. And, you know, he's a super creative player. In fact, he's getting Neural Parasite and he's getting Vipers. And we're about to see if maybe this will be the difference maker despite him being down a few bases. You know, I don't know if Vipers are going to be the best here. Maybe against tanks and Thors, but there isn't really that many tanks and Thors right now. Just Battle Hellions. There are 6 tanks back at home, but none of the offense at the moment in time. Those Battle Hellions were taken out. And Catz now beginning to maybe threaten a little bit with these roaches. I think he just wants to hold off the Terran player from claiming this base. As Zerg, you never want to let Terran get this one because this is a huge launching platform. It's a staging platform for Terran attacks, just a siege down ramp and eventually hit this base right here. So it's quite important for Catz here to not let that happen. Cute Angel really isn't at that point yet though. She still needs to saturate this base and needs to probably look to get this base as well. Battle Hellions trying to make a run by though. And, excuse me, they were just in car mode, but they are going to go down to some Infestors. Meanwhile, Vipers using the consumability on these evolution chambers. And, oh, we had Hellions coming around the back of the third, and a few more drones going down here. So, the worker count falling a little bit more for Catz. But still a pretty crazy game. I can't say for sure, you know, who's ahead right now. I feel like if Cute Angel's given the opportunity a few moments of just time to get all of her orbital commands in full SCV production, I think she can quickly pull ahead in this game because let's face it, she can have potentially 5 bases here. Not to mention she's got a bunch of tanks back at home that are just chilling right now. They're all rocking out. And when they decide to roll out, that's going to be problems for Catz, I feel like. And it's really going to come down to his Vipers. Is he going to have enough Vipers here to Binding Cloud / abduct the siege tanks and put them out of position? It looks like we have a couple of Widow Mines over here covering this base, but there's a Burrowed Zergling there giving vision. And it will be able to prevent the CC from going down for some time. And, wow, more CCs coming up. So Cute Angel going into super late game Terran mode here. And that's when you can start throwing away SCVs just to have more mules. And it's actually pretty effective. You just have a bunch of orbitals supplying your main mineral income. But Catz looks like he's beginning to prepare for an attack here. Let's check the upgrades. 2-2 for roaches. Siege tanks at 1-2, so Catz has a slight advantage, but I don't know. These tanks are on siege right now, though. Cute Angel not sieging up her tanks, and now finally sieging up. She's going to take a few tank hits here, and the Binding Cloud's coming down. The tanks cannot attack, and now the Infestors mind-controlling the Warhounds. Oh my god, Cute Angel, this could not have gone any worse for her. First of all, her tanks are on siege. Second of all the tanks were clumped up, so the Binding Clouds just came down all over the place. And talk about bad weather. Those tanks were in really bad weather. Catz here is going to take advantage and capitalize. He just killed off this base, or at least forced the lift off. But does he have enough forces to actually do permanent damage here? The Infestor's looking to go behind this orbital command, spitting out a bunch of infested Terrans. But to be honest with you guys, Catz hasn't done significant damage to the economy yet. How many tanks has he killed off? It looks like he didn't kill off that many. There's still 5 tanks alive. And, you know, just all in all, I think Catz shoving a huge portion of his army in, but he isn't going to get a critical blow. I guess he did kill off a few tanks, maybe like 4 or 5 tanks in total, but he's going to lose a lot of roaches and stuff. So this is going to be a pretty even trade for both sides here, and I think Cute Angel, pretty good crisis management here. Didn't lose more SCVs than she needed to, maybe like 5 or 10. And maybe lost a few tanks, but overall she kept her bases alive. She lifted off everything and still has a lot of roaches at her front door. But if she can clean these up, I think she's sitting okay. And yeah, it looks like we have a few roaches just burrowed down, preventing this orbital command from landing. That's typical Catz playstyle right there. Catz now just flirting with Cute Angel. And it looks like Cute Angel gonna get the missile turret up, so she'll be able to take out these 2 burrowed roaches. But the problem here is, as this game goes on, I think Cute Angel's looking really good, guys. She's got a ton of orbital commands here. Let's just get a head count real quick on how many orbitals she's sitting on at this moment in time. There's a total of 6 orbitals. So, you know, her SCV count right now really didn't take much of a hit. She's at 80 already. If she loses any, she can quickly recover. Not to mention the mules just make an astonishing difference in StarCraft 2. Look at the income difference. 2,500 for a moment there to 2,000, so that all does add up. But Catz has claimed another base, and that's so big. He needs as many bases as he can right now. He's on 5. So it is going to be 5 base to 4 base at this moment in time, but as soon as Cute Angel decides to land over here in the bottom right, she needs to kill off this Burrowed Zergling first. She'll be able to get some additional mining going. Both armies once again nearing max supply here. 2-3 for the Terran player in terms of upgrades. 3-3 for Cats. And Cats now beginning to load up some infestors into his Overlord. Alright, Cats, this is it, man. This is his signature moves. I think infestors definitely, you know, if every Zerg player could claim one Zerg unit that they like most, Cats would definitely claim the Infestor. I don't know what Stefano would claim. He would probably just claim the Roach. As uninteresting as that might be, I mean, that is really his kind of claim to fame in ZVP. And we'll see what happens here. It looks like the Overlord's coming in, but you know, there's a lot of Vikings here. And there's a Raven. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to really work out, but it looks like Cute Angel is pulling away. So maybe the Overlord will be able to get in safely. There is a missile turret providing detection as well. And will Cats go to eventually to something like Ultralisk? Burrow charging Ultras are so good against Terran now. At the same time, Broodlords are still very good as well. You know, you gotta remember, you're facing off against a mostly metal army here. Ultras or Broodlords would be great. We'll see what happens though. It looks like Cats is going around the backside. Roach is gonna hit into the base down here, and it is going to kill off that command center. And now that Overlord going in, oh my god, precious cargo going down. One Infestor gets out, and the SCVs are going to make a run for it, but some of them will die if he can get another fungal off to it. Cats gets the fungal at the very last second, and that was a nice blow right there. But you know what? I don't know. I think at the end of the day, Cute Angel has a lot of SCVs, and she can afford to lose some right now. You know, she's not going to be mining over more than 2 or 3 bases at this point. There's only like 1 remaining base for her to claim, and if you can count this one, then that's a base as well. But overall, she doesn't need more than 65 SCVs at any point in the future of this game. So here we go. Cat's going to come in, though. There's a lot of tanks sieging up, though. All those Roaches need to pull out right now, but it looks like the Vipers come in. Binding Cloud at the last second. Beautiful Binding Clouds, and now knurling the tanks and the Thors as well, although they won't be able to fire due to Binding Cloud. Vikings landing, though, and the landed Vikings going to provide the additional firepower necessary to take out the remaining units, and Cute Angel, despite being in bad weather right there, is going to be able to break through, and that's a huge tank army, guys. There's PDD here as well, providing cover for the Vikings against the Corruptors. And right now, Cats is running out of money. He's trying to get Ultras and Broodlords. Just finished his Ultralisk Cavern and his Greater Spire, but he has to make up his mind now. What unit does he go for? And I don't think he has the ability to go for Broodlords, given how many Vikings there are on the field. He is going to have to quickly go for Ultralisks. The only problem with that, of course, is he can't get the Burrow Charge and the Chitinous Plating right away. Oh man, it looks like he's going to actually be able to push the tanks and the Thors away. Cute Angel in a lot of trouble. She was out of position, had her tanks on siege, and just got overwhelmed with a large number of Roaches. But is there going to be enough tanks here for her to hold off this Roach counterattack? Cats out of the last second gets a ton of Roaches. Where did these Roaches come from? And you know, this counterattack, so beautifully done. He's actually pushed Cute Angel all the way back home, and at the same time has a drop going on inside the main base with Overlords, Roaches, and Zerglings all over the place. 2 Ravens are here though, and a couple of tanks and Widow Mines are defending as well. That Widow Mine, will it launch? Boom! There it goes, taking out the remaining Roaches. So it looks like Cats' intention of dropping there is going to not work, but he has another attack going on down in the bottom right-hand corner, killing off SCVs and Meals. 71 workers killed so far. And Cats is going for a ton of economy damage, and he's doing just that, getting a ton of workers there. 51 workers remaining, and at the same time attacking once again with his Roaches and his Infestors through the front. He knows that Cute Angel is stretched very thin right now to the north and the south, due to his drop, and his Roach counterattacks. He's going to come in here with all these Roaches, but I don't think he's got enough firepower to break through the tank and the Thors. They are at 3-3 right now, mind you, so that is too much firepower for these Roaches to hold on to, and they are going to be forced to fall back. Meanwhile, Cute Angel looking to potentially claim the 6 o'clock expansion here, and Cats cannot let that expansion come up at all costs. At the same time, he's got an expansion coming up at the 12, and from Cute Angel's perspective, she can't let that expansion come up either, so she'll have to devote considerable resources to stopping that. She has a scout there to see that there is a base there after all, and we'll see if she can muster up enough forces to make an attack. Right now, it looks like all of these counters throughout the last few minutes have done so much damage to Cute Angel that she's now down to 134 supply. She's going to lose another Thor. And now she's only got one more left remaining on the field, 12 tanks and a few Ravens. Her army supply is diminishing rapidly. She doesn't have enough to defend this base, and this is what happens when you get too greedy and you make all these orbitals, but you don't make planetary fortresses. Although, Cute Angel's got so many orbital commands, it's like, hey, I can just lose SCVs all day and I can rebuild them, no problem. She's at 27 right now, but given the amount of orbitals she got, look at how many orbitals she's running on right now. She is on, I mean, I can't even count this many. She's on like 8 at this moment in time. Honestly, I think Cute Angel has solved the world's power supply problems, and, you know, forget going green, forget fossil fuel, it's all about orbital commands all over the place. And that's it, man. Cute Angel has solved the world's energy needs, but the problem is, I think Catz is just one step ahead of her. Look at the army he's got, and he's actually making some mushrooms right now as well, as Catz likes to call them. So he has some swarm hosts on the field. Although he isn't going to make much more of that, just one swarm host right now? Alright. And actually has a bunch of ultras here. Does not have burrow charge yet, but he does have chitinous plating. He actually needs to research burrow charge immediately. I'm not quite sure what he's waiting for. One of the most crucial new upgrades to Zerg, especially versus Terran. And if he can get that upgrade going, then he'll be able to make an attack over here in the bottom left-hand side, or the bottom 6 o'clock, excuse me. And it looks like, you know what, both players have now claimed a base of their own. Catz going up to the 12, and his opponent going down to the 6, and Cute Angel's got a bunch of, oh my goodness, oh, the Widow Mines! Oh, a ton of damage done right there. Cute Angel getting a huge attack with the burrowed Widow Mines ambushing the infested Terrans coming in, and Cute Angel somehow saw that coming, dropped the comm set at the right moment in time, and those Widow Mines just paid off for themselves tenfold. Great, brilliant job right there by Cute Angel, who has now a huge tank line covering the planetary fortress, her first PF of the day. And this location now, for all intents and purposes, is now impregnable by the Zerg army. At least the Zerg army in this current state. Catz will need to get more Brute Lords out, Swarm Hosts, or he'll need to get Burrow Charge. You know, these are all, minus the Brute Lord, Hive text units and abilities that are available in Heart of the Storm, and he'll need to use some of those in order to do maximum damage. It looks like right now he's going to go for an Ultra drop with 7 Overlords. That is actually 6 Overlords loaded up, but there are 3 missile turrets here. Oh, one Ultra goes down, another Ultra will not go down, so he will unload the paratroopers at the very last second. Those Ultras are so brave, considering the size of their head and their brain. That's actually not saying much, but you know, you don't have to be the smartest tool in the shed, the sharpest tool in the shed, to say, oh, I want to go into an Overlord and drop into a Terran base covered with missile turrets. But at the same time, it looks like Catz here is going to come for an excuse me, this is Cute Angel making an attack into Catz. At the same time, Catz says, oh, your whole army's up there attacking my base, and it's time to go eye for an eye, and I'll take out a base as well. But there's a planetary here. Cute Angel's entire army up at the 12 o'clock. Meanwhile, Catz disrupting the mining going on, excuse me, not the mining, but the production facilities, but those Ultras are finally going to go down, and I'm not entirely sure if they fully paid off for themselves. And in the meantime, it looks like Catz was able to kill off this planetary at the 6 o'clock, so at the moment in time, it is eye for an eye, 186 supply to 174. But Catz is going to lose another base, and at this moment, Catz needs to kill off the expansion down in the bottom right-hand corner. Cute Angel also running out of time in a base trade scenario. Actually, Zerg most likely wins out just due to the ability for them to blow through buildings with cracklings much faster than siege tanks or Thor's cannon. Of course, the mobility of Zerglings and Ultras much quicker than tanks are, so Cute Angel will have to think of a strategy here. I would say lift off all her orbitals right now, and she might be alright. It looks like she's going to defend the pocket expansion and kills off a bunch of Ultras and Zerglings there. And that went pretty well for her, as she's killed off 2 bases at this moment in time, and now trying to set up perhaps to attack the middle pocket base, but she drops a comm set and she sees the crawlers, the swarm host, and the Brute Lord, and I think she's probably going to say, alright, enough is enough, I'm going to now pull back. Both of us actually trading pretty evenly there, and you know, I'm just going to take a step back from her perspective and, you know, look at both players here. They have both taken out 2 of each other's bases. The corner expansions have gone down. and the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock expansions have gone down. So both of these players have done significant damage to each other. Ooh, that's nasty for that Roach. And at the end of the day, it's still an extremely close game, although 75 workers to 30 harvesters. But then again, of course, Cute Angel's got all these orbitals. She's just relying primarily on meals. In fact, if you look at the income right now, her income, not too good. So she needs to drop some meals down at this moment in time, making an attack down here at the 6 o'clock. Kills off the base once again. But it looks like this base up here has been prevented from mining. So both players are still, you know, just keeping each other away from the remaining resource nodes on the map. It looks like these Widow Mines are going to go in to disrupt the long-distance mining. They're going to burrow down. And Cat's immediately spreading out his drones. Very nice micro right there. So he mitigates potential worker loss there. And you know, Zerg doesn't have the same capability as Terran when it comes to dropping down meals, so saving your workers much more important for Zerg than it is for Terran when it cuts down to the nitty-gritty. 37 minutes into this game here, and Catz, where did this army come from? Checking, I guess, into the 12 o'clock to see if there's a base there. One swarm host on patrol duty somewhere around here is just dropping down those locust bombs, and it looks like Cute Angel gonna make a big attack here. This is going to come down to one huge battle. And potentially the last battle here, ladies and gentlemen, because both players are running pretty thin on gas. Although, of course, that does mean that Catz has almost, 3K worth of minerals. She can produce quite a bit of Zerglings here. And that could be problematic for Cute Angel. But she does have some Battle Hellions. Battle Hellions actually burn through Zerglings so badly. They'll give them first-degree burns all day long. And then some. And it looks like Cute Angel coming in with 4 tanks here. Gotta be careful though, man. Those tanks are pretty overextended. And the Battle Helion's trying to get in front. Oh, this went terribly for Cute Angel. But she's gonna siege up the rest of the tanks in the background here. Gonna try to take out as many roaches as she can. And no, Catz, don't go down that ramp. Catz cannot afford to lose all of his roaches here. That's the remaining portion of his army. And back at home, what is he producing? Does he still not have burrow charge? No, he doesn't. So he's not really utilizing the final tier of Hive Tech. We haven't seen much Brute Lords or Ultras with Burrow Charge in this game yet. Cat's still on, roaches and infestors. And the Secret Missile! Ouch, taking out one of the infestors there. The rest of the infestors getting Neoparasites off, killing off a Thor or 2. But overall, I don't know, man. Catz is starting to lose a little bit of ground here. And when it comes down to it, Thors are such massive units, and they're covered by tanks as well as Widow Mines. I don't see how Catz is going to be able to take out that type of army. He's out of money, I guess, so he can only make Zerglings at this point. And do the Zerglings have a crack upgrade? They do. So they've got Adrenal Glands, but there's Battle Hellions and Widow Mines all over the place, and, Zerglings don't fare too well against that type of unit. And what is this, man? We've got these 2 tanks going on over here to disrupt mining. Looks like the drones now going to try to fight for themselves, but the tanks have 4 armor total, man. Those drones can attack forever, and I doubt they'll be able to take out that tank. Although backup is coming for Catz, so he should be able to save that base. Meanwhile, what's going on back here? It looks like we have a couple of burrowed roaches disrupting mining themselves. And look at all the meals coming down. This is what I'm talking about, guys. The Terran player can remain alive on meals forever. And Catz knows that, man. He's running out of time to make something happen here. It looks like he's going to make a frontal attack with his forces. He's still got that Ultra burrowed inside the main base. We'll see if he decides to unburrow that for some devastating carnage inside the production facilities. Supply depots raising up the walls here to prevent the roaches from coming inside. And we still have a couple of bird roaches over in the bottom right expansion as well. Catz is, at this moment in time, what Catz is trying to do is he's trying to buy time, because he knows if the Terran player were to hit him head on with all of these Thors, it's game. And he cannot possibly hope to fight that army head on, so he's got to buy time to get Brood Lords out. He's got to buy time by side attacking the bases and using guerrilla warfare. And that's what he's trying to do right here. Talk about overpopulation, man. There's a lot of meals and SCVs for 70 remaining minerals on one stack. And now the Crackling's coming in. This is population control courtesy of Catz. And he is going to really quickly kill off that orbital. That's what I'm talking about. Cracklings, Zerg in general, just destroy buildings with absolute, impunity. No mercy whatsoever. And they take him down so quickly in a base race. A lot of times Terran players can't really hope to win, and this is where the Widow Mines and the Battle Hellions in defensive posture. Oh my god, those Zerglings, those Battle Hellions are going to roast away all the Zerglings. Goodbye. And if those had been normal Hellions, you know, the Zerglings probably would have won, but not in battle mode. That's when Hellions get serious. So that did not work out too well for HOTS, but right now he's trying to buy time to get Brute Lords out on the field, and the Comsat is going to reveal Brute Lords on the field. However, there are 7 Vikings as well for Cute Angel. She's got a way to attack the air of the Zerg player, and now she's going in for the jugular. She's going for the throat. This is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. HOTS is going to have to make an epic hold here. But I don't know if he's got enough, man. He's using 1 queen to transfuse everything. That queen better have 9,000 energy. And she doesn't. So these Rootlers are going to go down. And that might just be GG. HOTS is going to, I think, lose this game, barring a miracle at this point. 138 supply to 79. 30 harvesters to 11. Of course, that just means more supply being devoted to army for Cute Angel, which is problematic right now for HOTS. I'm not quite sure what he's going to do. He's going to lose a base. And yeah, that hatchery is most certainly going to go down right now. HOTS trying to run by around the back with more cracklings. He's actually going to find a bunch of SCVs and mules here. And that's going to be pretty helpful for him because that's the remaining amount of workers for the Terran player, now down to only 5. But I don't know, man. I think HOTS is just going to have to hope to win in a base race, but the problem is Terran can just lift off all of her orbitals, and you know what? I don't think HOTS has enough corruptors to take them down in time. He's got some ultras coming out now, but they still don't have burrow charge. So yeah, it looks like he's going to lose another base in the top left-hand side. This CC did lift off, and so the Zerglings won't be able to do much about that. They'll be able to kill off these 2 tanks, though. Maybe not. 3 tanks, man, even against cracklings. And Cute Angel just running the shop right now. 62 supply. HOTS is diminishing heavily, trying to make 4 infestors at this moment in time. Sending his Zerglings and his Ultras over to kill off the macro orbitals, but they are all going to lift off. Emergency evacuation procedure has been enabled. Every Terran player has that in his manual, you know. In case, you know, they pull out the manual. In case of Zergling counterattacks, press the liftoff button. So everything is up in the air right now. Quite well defended. And Cute Angel now executing Order 66 and killing off all the Zerg forces. And it looks like HOTS gonna try to burrow to hide. He's using everything in his book right now to get away from this force, but oh my goodness, the Battle Aliens with the Raven providing detection. Those drones are done for. Goodbye, drones. And yeah, they're all dead. So the drones are all down. Meanwhile, HOTS still trying to go around with counters, but there's Widow Mines. So that's going to pretty much shut down the counter attack ability of the Zerg player. Yeah, this is it, man. This is the last remaining forces for HOTS. Widow Mines coming in as well. I think that Ultra will probably end up dying to the Battle Hellions, so. And 17 supply now to 131, and I think at this point it is safe to say GG. Although HOTS is never one to surrender too early. He's still going to try to make something happen here. Goodbye. Oh man, those Widow Mines, I'm very impressed overall with Cute Angel and her ability to make Widow Mines actually seem pretty effective in this game. You have to remember they're very expensive units, 75, 25, and 2 supply. That's what hurts most about making Widow Mines. And there's finally the GG coming out of HOTS. But you know, the Widow Mine, I think when used correctly in a defensive position, it crushes Zergling run-bys. Pretty damn good against Ultras as well. I think overall, she even actually used them as an offensive drone harass a couple times in the main base. So overall, I do like Cute Angel's playstyle. That was an impressive showing of Terran versus Zerg, and we saw some Heart of the Storm units being mixed in right there. We even saw the Storm Host making a cameo appearance, although I think there was only one in the entire game. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this cast. If you did, check me out. I'm on YouTube at HD StarCraft. I'll always have more StarCraft 2 casts coming for you guys. But for now, this is HD, signing out.